Video 2.3. When was the last time you ran a competitive analysis for your brand? More importantly, do you know how to do one? If you're not sure, or the last analysis you ran was a quick perusal of a competitor's website and social media presence, you're likely missing out on important intelligence that could help your brand grow. So a competitive analysis is a strategy where you identify major competitors and research their products, sales, and marketing strategies. By doing this, you can create solid business strategies that improve upon your competitors. Competitive analysis can help you learn the ins and outs of how your competition works and identify potential opportunities where you can perform them. It enables you to stay on top of industry trends and ensure that your product is consistently meeting and exceeding industry standards and expectations. Let's dive into a few more benefits of conducting a competitive analysis. It can help you identify your product's unique value proposition and what makes your product different from your competitors. It enables you to identify what your competitor is doing right, and this information is critical for staying relevant and ensuring your product and your marketing campaigns are outperforming industry standards. A competitive analysis also tells you where your competitors are falling short, which helps you identify areas of opportunity, diversification in the marketplace, and test out new, unique marketing strategies that they haven't taken advantage of. You can learn through customer reviews what's missing in a competitor's product and consider how you might add features to your own product to meet those needs. Competitive analysis also provides you with a benchmark against what you can measure with your own growth. So we're going to dive in on how to conduct a competitive analysis for your own company. So every brand can benefit from doing this, and it'll help you identify gaps in the market, develop new products and services, uncover market trends, and market and sell more effectively. So the 12 steps of a competitive analysis are to determine who your competitors are, determine what products your competitors offer, research your competitors' sales tactics and results, take a look at your competitors' pricing as well as any perks that they offer, ensure you're meeting competitive shipping costs, analyze how your competitors market their products, take note of your competition's content strategy, learn what technology stack they're using, analyze the level of engagement on your competitors' content, and observe how they promote marketing content. Look at their social media presence, strategies, and go-to platforms, and perform a SWOT analysis to learn their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Number 1, determine who your competitors are. You'll need to figure out who you're actually competing with so you can compare the data accurately. What works in a business similar to yours may not work for your brand. And I believe I talked about that in my very first class and have reiterated it through all of these classes. What works for somebody else might not work for you. So just because they're doing it doesn't mean you should be doing it. So divide your competitors into 2 categories, direct and indirect. Direct competitors are businesses that offer a product or service that could pass as a similar substitute for yours and that operate in your same geographic area. So if you own a salon, a direct competitor would be another salon. On the flip side, an indirect customer is one that provides products that are not the same, but could easily satisfy the same customer need or solve the problem. So if you own a salon and there's another salon in town, that is your direct customer. But let's say there's a beauty supply in town that can offer products and services that are possibly going to satisfy the customer's need. That would be an indirect competitor. So it seems simple enough on paper, but these 2 terms are often missed. When you compare your brand, you should only focus on your direct competitors. This is something that many people get wrong. So let's use an example. You have Stitch Fix and Fabletics. They are both subscription-based services that sell clothing on a monthly basis and serve a similar audience. But as we look deeper at those two companies, we can see that one is an actual product, clothes, and one focuses on workout-centric attire only. So these brands do satisfy the same need, having trendy clothes delivered right to their doorsteps, customers' doorsteps each month. But they do so with completely different types of clothing, making them indirect customers. This means that Kate Hudson's team at Fabletics would not want to spend their time studying Stitch Fix too closely since their audience vary. And it doesn't mean you should not toss your indirect competitors out the window completely. You still want to keep them in your vision. Because if they shift into your market, then you really have to pay attention. But like if Stitch Fix was going to start a workout line, which then would make them direct competitors for Fabletics. So one of the reasons why you'll want to routinely run this competitor analysis is because any person's business can shift at any time. And if you're not consistently and constantly scoping it out, you won't be aware of these changes until things are too late. So number 2, determine what products your competitors offer. At the heart of every business is their products and services. So you want to start by analyzing your competitors' complete product line and the quality of the products and services that they're offering. You should take note of their pricing and any discounts that they offer. And some questions to consider include, are they a low-cost or high-cost provider? Are they working mainly with volume sales or one-off purchases? What is their market share? What are the characteristics and needs of their ideal customers? Are they using different pricing strategies for online purchases versus brick and mortar? How does the company differentiate itself from its competitors, and how do they distribute their products and services? Number 3, research your competitors' sales and tactics and results. Running a sales analysis of your competitors can be a little tricky. You want to track down answers to questions like, what does their sales process look like? What channels are they selling through? Do they have multiple locations, and how does this give them an advantage? Are they expanding or scaling down? Do they have a partner reselling program? What are their customers' reasons for not buying, for ending their relationship with the company? What are their revenues each year? What about total sales volume? Do they regularly discount their products or services? And how involved is a salesperson in the process? These helpful pieces of information will give you an idea of how the competitive sales process is and what information you need to prepare your sales reps with to compete during the final buy stage. For publicly held companies, you can find annual reports online, but you'll have to do some sleuthing if this is coming from a privately owned business. Number 4, take a look at your competitors' pricing as well as any perks they offer. There are a few major factors that go into correctly pricing your product. One major one is understanding how much your competitors are charging for a similar product or service. But just because your competitor charges $9.99 doesn't mean that you can charge $9.99. You first have to look at your profit margins. But if you feel your product offers superior features to that of a competitor's, you might consider making your product or service more expensive than the industry standards. However, if you do that, you'll want to make sure that your sales reps are ready to explain why your product is worth the additional cost. Alternatively, perhaps you feel there's a better gap in your industry for affordable products. If that's the case, you might aim to charge less than competitors and appeal to prospects who aren't looking to break the bank for a high-quality product. Of course, there are other factors that go into correctly pricing a product, but it's critical that you stay on top of industry pricing to ensure you're pricing your product in a way that it feels reasonable to your prospects. Additionally, take a time to look at any perks your competitors offer and how you might match those perks to compete. For instance, perhaps competitors offer a major referral discount or a month-long free trial version. Those perks could be the reason you're losing customers. So if it feels reasonable for your brand, consider where you might want to match those perks or provide some unique perks of your own. Number 5, ensure you're meeting competitive shipping costs. Did you know that expensive shipping is the number one reason for cart abandonment? Nowadays, free shipping is a major perk that can attract customers to choose one brand over another. And if you work in an industry where shipping is a major factor, like e-commerce, you want to take a look at your competitors' shipping costs and ensure that you're meeting those, if not exceeding those prices. If most of your competitors offer free shipping, you'll want to look into the option for your own company. If it's not practical for your business, consider how you might differentiate in other ways, including loyalty programs, holiday discounts, giveaways on social media, etc. Number 6, analyze how your competitors market their products. Analyzing your competitor's website is the fastest way to gauge their marketing efforts. Take notes of any of the following items and copy down the specific URLs for future reference. Do they have a blog? Are they creating white papers or ebooks? Do they post videos or webinars? Do they have a podcast? Are they using static visual content such as infographics and cartoons? Do they have slide decks? They frequently ask questions. Are there featured articles? Do you see press releases? Do they have a media kit? What about case studies? Do they publish buying guides and data sheets? And what online and offline advertising campaigns are they running? Number 7, take note of your competition's content strategy. Then take a look at the quantity of these items. Do they have several hundred blog posts or a small handful? Are there 5 white papers and just 1 ebook? Next, determine the frequency of these content assets. Are they publishing something once a week, once a month? How often are they pushing out content? You should also look and move into evaluating the quality of their content. If the quality is lacking, no matter how often they post, their audience won't find much value. So choose a handful of work examples to review. Don't worry about tackling every single piece of content, because that might become a full-time job and take you away from the project at hand. But just look at a few content pieces, see what kind of topics they're covering, and you should get a fairly complete picture of what your competitor shares with their audience. So when you're looking at their content, you want to make sure that you're looking at how accurate their content is, if there are spelling or grammar errors, how in-depth their content goes, what tone they use, if the content is structured for readability, if their content is free and available, or do readers need to opt in, who is writing their content, and is there a video byline or bio attached to their other articles? As you continue to scan the content, pay attention to the photos and imagery your competitors are using. Do you quickly scroll past generic stock photos, or are you impressed by custom illustrations and professional images? If they're using stock photos, do they at least have overlays of text or calls to action that are specific? If their photos are custom, are they sourced from outside graphic professionals, or do they appear to be done in-house? So learn what technology stack your competitors use. Understanding what types of technology your competitors use can be critical for your own company. So for instance, perhaps you've seen positive reviews about a competitor's customer service, and you learn that the competitor uses powerful customer service software that you haven't been taking advantage. This information should arm you with the opportunity to outperform your competitors' processes. To find out which software your competitors use, type the company's URL into a website called Built With. It's an effective tool for unveiling what technology your competitor's site runs, along with third-party plugins ranging from analytics systems to CRMs. Alternatively, you might consider looking at competitors' job listings, particularly for engineer or web developer roles, and they will likely mention what tools a candidate needs to be familiar with. Number 9, analyze the level of engagement on your competitor's content. To gauge how engaging your customer's content, you'll need to see how their target audience responds. Check the average number of comments, shares, and likes on your competitors' content and find out if certain topics resonate better than others, if the comments are negative, positive, or a mix, if people are tweeting about specific topics more than others, and readers respond to better Facebook updates with certain content. And don't forget to note how your competitor categorizes their content using tags, and if they will have social media follow and share buttons attached to each piece of content. Both of these will ebb engagement activity. Number 10, observe how they promote their marketing content. So do they have keyword density in the copy itself? Do they use image alt text tags? And do they use internal linking? Which keywords are they using and focusing on that you might not have tapped into? What content of theirs is highly shared and linked? And how does your content compare? Which social media platforms are they using, and which social media platforms is your audience on? If your audience is not on Facebook, you probably don't spend much time on there. But if they're successfully marketing on Facebook and they have your same target audience, you're going to want to start doing that. What other sites are linking back to your competitor's site but not yours? Who else is sharing what your competitors are publishing? And who is referring traffic to your competitor's site? Number 11, look at their social media presence, strategy, and go-to platforms. The last area you'll want to evaluate is when it comes to marketing is your competitor's social media preference, presence, and engagement rates. How does your competition drive engagement with their brand through social media? Do you see social sharing buttons with each article? Does your competitor have links to their social media challenges in the header, footer, and somewhere else? If your competitors are using a social network that you might not be on, it's worth learning how that platform might be able to help you. Visit the following sites to see if your competition has an account on these platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, and TikTok. Then take notes of the following quantitative items from each platform: the number of the fans and the followers, how often they're posting, and are they consistent? Is the content being engaged with? Are people leaving comments or sharing the posts? And has anything gone viral? How many shares, repins, and retweets do their posts get? With the same critical eye you use to gauge your competition's content marketing, take a fine-tooth comb to analyze their social media strategy. What kind of content are they posting? Are they more focused on driving people to landing pages, which results in new leads? Or are they posting visual content to promote engagement and brand awareness? How much of this content is original? Do they have curated content from other sources? Are these sources regular contributors? And what is the overall tone of the content? How does your competition interact with followers? How frequently do their followers interact with your content? After you collect this data, generate an overall grade for the quality of your competitors' content, and this will help you compare the rest of your competitors using a similar grading scale. Number 12, perform a SWOT analysis to learn their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. As you evaluate each component in your competitor analysis, your business, sales, and marketing, and you get into the habit of performing a simplified SWOT analysis at the same time. This means you'll take note of your competitor's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats anytime you assess an overall grade. Some questions to get you started include: what is your competitor doing really well with? Where does your competitor have the advantage over your brand? What is the weakest areas for your competitors, and where does your brand have the advantage over your competitors? What could they be doing better with, and what areas would you consider this competitor as a threat? You'll be able to compare your competitors' weaknesses against your strengths and vice versa, and doing this, you can better position your company. You'll have to start uncover areas for improvement within your own brand. So how does your own brand stack up? Well, before you accurately compare your competition, you need to establish a baseline. And this is what helps when it comes time to perform a SWOT analysis. So take an objective look at your business, sales, and marketing efforts through the same metrics that you use to evaluate your competition. So you may be going back after this exercise and adjusting the SWOT analysis that you did in the previous lessons. Record this information just like you would with a competitor and use it as your baseline. So this should open up a lot of different things for you to consider in your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So you're going to have some reading on market research and competitive analysis and how to conduct a comprehensive competitive analysis. And you're going to then perform a competitive analysis. So you'll download the template and you'll fill out the table with the information on a business that you consider to be a direct competitor in your field. And if you don't have a business yet, think of your hypothetical business and identify 3 existing businesses that will be your competition. So ideally you want to do 3 of these competitive analysis.